Around May this year, something really big happened in Russia that got everyone talking. The Wagner Group, a group of fighters from Russia, led by a guy named Yevgeny Prigozhin, decided to fight against the Russian government. Before that, they were fighting in Ukraine and lost a lot of people in a town called Bakhmut. Prigozhin didn't like how the Russian army was doing things, and he said so. He even said the Russian defense minister and the general staff chief were not doing a good job. He also said they didn't give his group enough bullets, and they left his group without protection. Then, on June 23, 2023, Prigozhin claimed that the Russian army attacked his fighters with missiles and killed a lot of them. He said, "I want those top guys to come to me or else." So he took around 20,000 of his fighters, and they left Ukraine and went into Russia. They took over a city called Rostov-on-Don, and it has a lot of people. Everyone thought Russia was going to have a big civil war because Prigozhin and his fighters were heading to Moscow. They had tanks and trucks and they looked unstoppable. Some helicopters tried to stop them, but they shot the helicopters down. But then, something unexpected happened. Prigozhin changed his mind after some quiet talks with the leader of Belarus, who is friends with the Russian leader Vladimir Putin. Prigozhin gave up and his fighters left the cities they took. They stopped fighting. It was only about 24 hours of chaos and some people got hurt. People started saying that Russia was falling apart, just like they've been saying for a long time. They thought Ukraine and the war there would make Russia break into pieces, like what happened to the Soviet Union a long time ago. But guess what? It didn't happen. People have been saying Russia would fall apart for many years, even when Putin became the boss in 2000. They said Putin would be in trouble when things like the Ukraine war, a virus, or protests happened. But he's still there. In fact, lots of people in Russia still like Putin. They say he's doing a good job. And even though Russia can't sell its oil and gas to Europe like it used to, it's finding other places to sell them. People are still going on vacations, and the Russian economy isn't collapsing like some thought. So what's the deal with Putin in Russia? Why do people keep saying he'll fall, but he doesn't? And what's the story with all these big changes in the world because of Russia's actions? That's something to think about. You see, Russia sells lots of oil to other countries, but Western countries put some rules on them, like a price cap. This means Russia has to sell their oil cheaper than they want. Even if some countries don't use Western rules, they still ask Russia for cheaper oil because they can. Russia can't say no. So these rules have been in place for a while now. Russia sells oil to Asia and Africa because they can't sell much to Europe and North America anymore. Before, it was easier to sell to Europe because it's closer, but not now. The price cap makes Russia sell their oil for way less than they used to. But guess what? Countries like India and China love this. They buy a lot more Russian oil now because it's cheaper than oil from other places like Saudi Arabia. So China and India are in this race to buy Russian oil. They used to buy more from Saudi Arabia, but now they're choosing Russian oil because it's a better deal. It's like a big competition for oil. The problem is this competition hurts the Saudis because they're not selling as much. They need that money for their big plans. So Russia and Saudi Arabia decided to cut how much oil they make to raise the price. But the United States wants to make more oil to stop prices from going up too much. It's like a big oil war between countries. The winners get more money, but it's also affecting the world's economy. But wait, Russia is doing something else too. They're spending lots of money on their military. It's the third highest military budget in the world. That's because of the war in Ukraine. Ukraine is spending a lot on their military too, even though they're a smaller country. They're getting help from other countries like the United States. This helps their economy too. So, Russia's economy seems okay for now, but there are problems underneath. Russia's population is shrinking, and they have fewer workers. Plus, there are lots of landmines in Ukraine now, which makes the war harder. So Russia isn't collapsing, but it's like a balancing act. They're making money from oil, spending on the military, and dealing with challenges. It's a complicated puzzle, isn't it? Okay, let's talk about Russia and Ukraine, but in a way that's easy to understand. Imagine two countries like different teams playing a game. People thought Russia was going to win, but Ukraine is putting up a really strong fight. First, Russia is not falling apart as some people thought. It's still a big and powerful country. And here's something interesting. Ukraine is finding it harder to replace its lost soldiers than Russia. Think of soldiers like players on a soccer team. Ukraine needs more players, but it's tough to get them. Now, let's talk money. Ukraine is spending a lot on its defense, like buying new soccer gear. In fact, they spent much more money on defense than ever before, but they also lost money because of the fight. So they're borrowing money from friends like the United States, Europe, and the IMF to keep going. The US and its friends have given Ukraine a ton of help, like giving them equipment and money. It's like when your friends share their toys with you. But Ukraine still has a big problem. They need lots of money to fix all the things that got broken during the fight. It's like when your toys get broken and you need new ones. Now, let's talk about Russia. Russia has money, and they're spending some of it on the fight. But they're not spending as much as Ukraine. It's like they're trying to save some of their allowance. People thought maybe Russians would start protesting against their leader Putin because of the tough fight and lots of soldiers getting hurt. But guess what? Not many protests are happening. Russia is a bit like a big family, and most of them are sticking together. Now here's the tricky part. There's a really big battle happening in Ukraine, like a giant soccer match. It's one of the biggest battles in Europe since a long, long time ago. Both sides are trying really hard to win, but talking about it can be sad because a lot of people are getting hurt. In the end, we don't know exactly what's going to happen. Will Ukraine be able to keep getting help? Will Russia be patient and keep playing this game? It's like a big puzzle, and we'll have to wait and see how it all turns out. What do you think will happen next in this story? Share your thoughts. So that's all for today, folks. Thank you for spending some time with us. If you found this video interesting, let us know what you think in the comment box. Make sure to hit the like button and notification bell and subscribe to our channel to get access to more interesting videos from us. While you are here, kindly click on one of the other 2 videos you see on your screen. See you there.